We are making this daffodil coaster, or you can also use it as an applique. You need yarn in two different yellows, one just very slightly darker or brighter, so that you can make these outlines. These two that I have are both mercerized cotton. It's good because it makes a firm finish. And then you need a hook that goes with your yarn. Mine is 3mm. We'll work on this upside down, starting here, then the outline for that, then the middle here and outline, and last each of these here leaves separately and finishing off by outlining them all in one go. Start by chaining 11. I have 6 here and then I'll chain more. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we are going to crochet both sides of this here chain. So now that we start, only take the top loop of each chain. I'm using American crochet terms here. I actually had to change my hook. The nicer looking one just split the yarn too much. This yarn is not the ideal, but it's the color I had. So single crochet into the second stitch from the hook. Then half double crochet into the next one. Half double crochet pulling straight through. Then we'll have 5 double crochets. 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 5 double crochets, then half double crochet, a single crochet, and now we are at the end with 1 stitch left and 3 single crochets into that 1 stitch. 3, which means that this goes round the end. And then we're starting to do the same backwards. I'm leaving the yarn end inside the stitches. Single crochet into the first one, and we are taking the other side of the stitch now. Single crochet there, then half double crochet into the next one, the other side of that stitch, and then 5 double crochets, just like on the other side. Now I leave that end and cut it later. Then half double crochet, and a single crochet. Then we need to do this here edging. It's loops, chaining 3 in each loop. Take your other color, slightly darker yellow, and first of all a slip stitch into the end here using already that other color. So to pull through, use the other color. Chain 3, and we go around always skipping 1 and then a slip stitch into the next one. So here again chain 3, skip 1, slip stitch, and like this round, chain 3, skip, and a slip stitch. Here at the end we'll have 2 so that we don't skip. just so that it doesn't stretch. So 3, slip stitch into the next stitch, and that one more time, chain 3 and slip stitch into the next one, and then continue around here, chaining 3 and skipping 1. Then first pull a long stitch using this here color that we have for the border, just because we'll need it back again. I prefer not to cut yarn when it's not necessary, and this way it won't escape. And get the other one back there. And we need double crochets now to start crocheting that way, and we will be doing those stitches under these here loops so that this stays above them. Turn it a bit on the side and insert the hook under the second loop here, there, and let the yarn skip a bit, just make sure it doesn't get too tight, and create a stitch and chain 2 here and a double crochet into that same stitch. Then we go behind the next loop, can pull the loops forward like that, and 2 double crochets there too. As well as into the next one. And then 1 more double crochet into that behind the next loop in there. So now we have the chain and 6 double crochets, and then we continue 2 rows on these stitches, chain 3, turn, and no double crochet into the same one but to the other ones, so 6 double crochets into each of these stitches here. And 1 to the end. So again there's 6 double crochets and the chain in the beginning, and this one more time, chain 3, turn, and 6 double crochets there, and then we'll round the top off a bit, chain 2 this time just, and turn, and a double crochet not into that same one but the next one and the next one, those 2 together. So start a double crochet and leave it without the last stage, and start another one, then pull through all the 3 loops, then an ordinary double crochet into the next one, and then again the next 2, crochet them together, and the other one and the last one, the chain just gets left, and pull through, and then chain 1 and cut the yarn and pull it through. Then return to where you have the very long stitch and pull it to a normal size with the hook in it, and then make a couple of slip stitches behind these here loops, because what we are doing next is going round this bit we just made using single crochets. So slip stitch there and there, so you get close to this here, and now we'll start going around using single crochets. You can make them quite close together, but not so much that it starts to go wavy. Now that we are coming to the rounded bit, you can add a few more stitches, like I'll have 2 at every loop there is. And it would be good to fit around 30. So I'm halfway now and I see how many I have. Yeah, I have 14 or 15. So I continue the same. And when you have gone right round, then just cut the yarn again. So here's what we have now. I fastened off the yarn ends so they don't get on the way. Then take stitch markers and mark stitches by counting 10 to each direction from the middle. Like this. Counting the stitches where the stitch markers are, there's 20 going round here. We will be using 4 stitches to start each of these 5 leaves here. Now we continue with the lighter yarn again and insert the hook into the stitch where the stitch marker is, or if you can't, take it off first, and it's this here one, and then make a stitch and chain 1, then 4 single crochet starting with the same stitch where your chain was. Now this first leaf or part of the flower is going sort of upwards a bit, so we will be moving those stitches that way. Chain 1, turn, and a single crochet not into the first one but the second one, and the next one, and then 2 into the last one. 2 single crochets, chain 1 and turn, and now 2 single crochets into the very first one, then 1 single crochet, and then the next 2 together. There, chain 1, turn, again not the first one but the one after, and 2 single crochets at the end. And that's the first one done. We need to make all of these separate, so cut the yarn. Then the next 3 are exactly the same. Go into the next stitch here and pull the yarn through, chain 1, and we start the same way with 4 single crochets, the first one in the same stitch, and then 3 more. So that's 4 single crochets there. Then chain 1 and turn, and now we need to increase 2 single crochets into the first stitch, then 1 each into the next 2, and again 2 into the last one. So now we have 6 stitches on that row. Chain 1, turn, and on this row simply 1 single crochet into each stitch. No increases or decreases. And one more row like that. Chain 1, turn, and 1 single crochet into every stitch. Chain 1 and turn, and now we're starting to decrease to make it into a point, a shape like that. So we have the chain that we turned, then a single crochet not into that same one again, but the next one, and start another one in the next stitch, and then we crochet those two together. Then a normal single crochet next, and the last 2 crochet them together. Chain 1 and turn, and this time crochet 1 into the first one, then the next 2 together. Chain 1, turn, and now 2 together. And one more row, just 1 stitch, chain 1, turn, and 1 stitch into the top, and then chain 1 and finish off. Cut the yarn and finish off. And after that we'll need 2 more of these, so make one exactly like that to the next 4 here, and then again the next 4. There's those 3, and then we need 1 more like this here, first one, but the other way around. So start a new one again, just the same, 4 stitches, and now the 4th one should be in where the stitch marker is. This is 3, and there's the 4th one. I'm taking the stitch marker off. And then chain 1, turn, 2 single crochets into the very first one, then 1, and crochet the last 2 together, chain 1, turn, and not into the first one but the next, 1 and 2, and then 2 into the last one, so it sort of turns upwards here, and then chain 1, turn, and again 2 into the very first stitch, and then 2 more, 1 there and 1 there, and that's it, done. So finish this one off, and then weave in all the yarn ends you have at this stage before we do the last bordering. Then the last thing we need to do is this here bordering using the brighter color, and starting in here and just 1 row of single crochets all over. So attach it, the yarn in here, and then start going round using single crochets just where there naturally is space for the next stitch. Always when you come to the tip, make 2 into 1 stitch before continuing. And when you come to the bottom of one of them, just skip straight to the next one. I'll actually make a slip stitch first, so they stay close together, and then just continue. So round all the ones like this. So here's it done, and if you have been working using cotton, then you can steam iron it. If it's something that can't be ironed, then wet it through and shape it. Here we are.